everybody. This is Brian.
Jason.
And this is the Perfectly Screwed Podcast, episode 58, actually. How's it going, everybody? Doing well on this side of the table. Jason's back. He's not sick this week. I know y'all missed him. We got some comments how I sucked on the last episode, which we did.
How do you do suck?
I didn't tell you about that, but they were like, "Oh, no, Jason's not as good." I got some comments on Facebook, and I was like, "Well, fuck you then." Yeah. How about you go suck a dick, dog?
Hey, you had to do.
I did my best.
You did what you had to do.
And
you got an episode out there,
and I was slightly drunk, if you must know. I was drinking that day, and I kept drinking.
I was going to say, I kind of feel like we have enough content now that if we miss a week, you know what I mean, it ain't the biggest deal. Hell, we could put 2 out the next week.
Well, we got the least downloads we've ever had of the last episode. I want you to know that. And I got comments on the ones that did download it and say, I sucked big hot cock and balls.
There's power in numbers, bro.
Well, I was drunk.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't drunk, per se. I had been drinking.
Was you tincturing?
No, I can't, because no tincturing. You know, urine screens and all. No, I'm clean as I'm clean as a motherfucker right now. The only thing I do is drink occasionally a beer or two. Well, I drank a lot of beers and then did an episode. I should have done the episode before I was drinking, because I was umming a lot. I was like, Well, I'm trying to read my notes.
It's hard when you're trying to do it by yourself.
Well, no, it was just I was trying to read my notes, and at a certain point, I'm drinking while reading my notes, and it got blurred. That's what happened.
Yeah, you almost have to have it almost all scripted if you're by yourself, to be honest with you.
I was scripted. That's the thing. I wrote out a whole script. It was just reading the script.
You were just getting, okay, I got you.
It was getting blurry at a certain point, yeah, because I kept drinking beers, and next thing you know, the beers started to affect the speaking.
They fuck up your eyesight, so you're right about that. I don't like beer. They give me a headache.
I don't like beer, but I like cheladas. I'm going to plug Bud Light here. Bud Light cheladas are amazing. They're like tomato juice and beer, Bud Light mixed together. So the Bud Light's really light lager, right. so it doesn't get much of a flavor. They taste kind of like a V8, and they've got different flavors. They got one with lime, one with hot sauce, which is called Fuego, and then they got one with mango. Oh, they're fucking delicious. I don't drink just beers. No, I drink those. But the problem with those is, like I said, they taste so good. They taste not like beer. You just keep drinking them and not thinking about it.
It's like Kool-Aid. You get in the zone.
Kind of.
Oh, I'll take a whole pitcher of cherry down right now.
Oh, yeah. So, last week, I kind of touched on some... Mainly, I just jumped into the story, but I did touch on some current events that was going on. And I wanted to get your opinion on it. What do you think of the Highland Park incident in Illinois?
Highland Park in Illinois.
Yeah, have you not heard about it? The mass shooting they had, just a 4th of July parade?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie. There's so many goddamn mass shootings anymore. I mean, I can't keep them fucking together.
Well, this guy, he's a young guy, and weird as shit. If you ever see an interview with this guy, he's fucking nuts, dude. Shows no emotion whatsoever for doing this. He got up, first of all, they legally let him buy a military-grade weapon with military-grade ammunition. They let him buy ammunition that literally is made to blow apart buildings. Okay? Right. And it's an automatic military-grade weapon. He got on top of a roof in Highland Park, Illinois, during a 4th of July parade and killed, at this point, I think it was 15 people and injured like 50. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess I come from... My viewpoint now is that what's going on is planned, it's scripted, has been thousands of years. And what's going on now with the shootings is they're coming after guns. They're going to come get everybody's guns.
And you know what?
Slowly but surely, that's what it's heading to. And I actually believe that these people that do the shootings are they're brainwashed somehow. Whether they're drugged, whether they're being frequency tapped through fucking 5G towers or whatever it may be, but I believe like they're being Manchurian candidated.
Oh yeah, I
be honest with you.
now I highly believe that. I think when they said they shut down, what was that program? M6 was it?
MK Ultra.
MK Ultra, yeah.
It's like everything else. They didn't
yeah.
shut it down.
They didn't shut it down.
Just like they shut down the Apollo mission. But if you think that we haven't still been going to the fucking moon, then I don't know what to tell you people anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's happening. Like you need to wake up.
Well,
Everybody's waking up. And it's real shit here.
Well, you heard about the rocket that just hit the moon, and nobody takes credit for it, right?
Really?
Yeah, it's like rocket debris, and they can't figure out where it came from, what country it came from. But they seen it hit the moon by a telescope, and no country's taking credit for this. They're saying it's impossible, it's this country, impossible this country. They don't know where it came from. And God only knows where it came from. Because, they do so much secret shit behind closed doors, it's unreal. That's like the whole Putin thing. On the one hand, I understand you got to go against Russia. I get that. But then on the other hand, you keep fucking with a tiger and keep pulling his tail. Eventually, he's going to do what he said.
But see, like the whole United States-Russia thing, this is what I find interesting too, man. Like, even if you go back to Apollo, when in the late 60s, right, early 70s, when all this shit was going down.
Oh, it's the same thing.
What else was going down there?
Yeah.
The Cold War. Bro, fucking people in schools, elementary schools, like when you were in elementary school, you had like a fire drill, right? A tornado drill.
Right.
These motherfuckers had nuclear bomb drills. They had to get under their fucking desk. Everybody was buying underground bunkers and putting them in their yards.
Yeah, of course.
Afraid of a Cold War between Russia and the United States.
And they're still afraid.
In the same fucking time. Find pictures on fucking internet in space of Russian and U.S. astronauts in the same space capsules and shit.
Oh, of course.
Like what? Hello?
Well, look, it's just funny to me that they do this stuff and then most people don't see what's behind the scenes. It's like, it's obvious if you look at it. Look, they did COVID, and COVID was a big thing for mass control. Let's be real. COVID doesn't kill hardly anybody. And then COVID played out. People got wise to the whole COVID bullshit. So they needed some more bullshit for a way to jack up prices and inflation and make all these companies a bunch of money and control people.
Yeah, I don't... Like,
well, the best way to do that is to make fear by war.
Sure. It's anybody's opinion what COVID actually is, right?
Right.
It's anybody's opinion.
I mean, it's a disease.
But here's what
I'll give you that.
Here's what I'm telling you. Nothing in this world works the way that you think it does.
Right.
And you can call it magic, right? But we've all been to a magic show. We all fucking get it. Dude, motherfuckers are awesome, bro.
Yeah.
They're fucking insane. That fucking week went to South Dakota. We stopped at Wisconsin Dells on the way back. Did I tell you this?
No.
There was a street magician.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this motherfucker took my $20 bill, bro, and then at the end of his fucking act pulls it out of a goddamn orange.
I don't like it better if he pulled it out of his ass.
Well,
yeah, right out of my colon. $20 bill.
What I'm saying is, this dude was awesome because as he is tricking you, he was literally telling people how he tricked, like how it works.
Right.
Right? I'm getting you to look over here.
Yeah.
Because what I'm really fucking doing, the trick's going on over here.
As
long as I grab your attention over here, it doesn't matter what I can do any fucking... Dude, he fucking put this goddamn quarter on this bitch's shoulder, bro. She had no fucking idea, you know what I mean? Like, he literally walked over and put it right on her fucking shoulder, and she had no fucking clue.
He put this quarter on this bitch's shoulder. Then he pulled out his cock. And he was jerking it. Next thing you know, quarters spewed everywhere.
But what I'm saying is, like, people have to start getting in the mindset of whatever COVID is, that's not what the fucking real deal is.
Of course not. Nothing is real.
What they're really doing is something else.
Look, it's like
that's
chess.
To draw your attention.
Look, it's chess, okay? It's real simple if you think about it. It's chess, okay? You move this piece, so they concentrate on defending this piece, but they don't see your queen coming up their asshole.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's the same thing in poker, okay? You don't let your opponent see what your hand is.
Right.
You might have a shitty hand, but you act like you have a good hand. That way, they're distracted by the fact of how you're acting, and they don't realize that, hey, I have shit.
It's always fear, man, like you said.
What they do is they do this to show you this, when really what they're doing is something completely different behind the scenes.
Correct.
It's like they invented the whole Russia thing so they could cause inflation. Inflation causes all these companies that were fucked in COVID to make money. It's funny how the companies that completely got ass raped in COVID, like the food industry and the gas industry, when gas prices were nothing during the COVID thing, because they lost a lot of money. Now they're making tons. Why? Well, it's obvious. If you think about it, they're doing that as a ploy. It's all a game. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's a game to make money and control people. And the problem is...
It is money too, man.
Right. And the problem is most of the world is so asleep to this. And see, it's funny because Americans, as a country, are basically asleep because they choose to be. They want them to be soft and watch their streaming and do this and not focus on what's really going on. In other countries, they don't do that. In other countries, they invent other things. Like third world countries, they invent poverty and different things like that to distract them from what's really going on. Mm-hmm. So no one in the world really thinks about what's going on. Because if you're poor as shit, you can't think about global scales or things that's going on. But when you're a rich country, they got to figure out another way to make you sleep.
Dude,
so they do this.
You're so right, too, man. Americans are so lazy, and they're so brainwashed, and they're so locked into, like, everybody's tricked by the exact same shit.
Oh, yeah. Like you said, it's a magic show.
On the exact same shit, man. And like you said, probably the 90%... The mass majority of Americans that are not waking up fucking know the truth and are, like you said, they're choosing not to wake up. And dude, and that to me, that's a double fucking whammy.
Well, it's like socialists said back in the 60s and the 50s, the communists and socialists. They said, and it's a really famous quote, you can look it up, I don't remember who said it, but he said to our presidents and stuff, we're not trying to turn you guys into socialists. He said, it's your grandchildren that we're going to turn into socialism.
Of course.
Because we're going to take it and we're going to do it so slowly, and we're going to integrate ourselves so slowly into your culture that you won't even get it. Well, recently, speaking of the news, recently, a person in Walgreens is now refused to sell a couple condoms because it was against his religious beliefs. These Christian nutbags that we have nowadays.
What happened now?
Okay, a lady and a man who are married came up to purchase condoms at Walgreens. The clerk stated to the woman, it's against my religious beliefs to sell condoms, so I'm going to step away from the register. And they made a manager come up there and check them out. Look, 20 years ago, that would never happen. You'd either sold the fucking condoms or you'd have been fired. Today, these fucking overprivileged, over-entitled motherfuckers that have, if you have a Christian belief, you can just step away and refuse to sell something.
It's any oppression now, man. Like we are starting to get down into like the most minute fucking oppressions, and trying to fix and make so many people happy. That, right? Again, everybody can clearly see what's going on, and they're refusing to fucking wake up because not enough people want to goddamn just stand up and say what's real. You know what I mean? We can't fucking fix all your oppression. Don't give a fuck what you are. I mean, right?
Man,
guys,
look.
I mean, be who and what you want to be. But quit fucking acting like
you're entitled.
You are a fucking... It's a victim mentality. People, you got to get out of this victim mentality.
Well, this is
whether you're a dude, whether you're a girl, whether you're gay, whether you're straight, whether you're black, white, fat, skinny, tall, short. Here's what I'm telling you. Nobody gives a fuck.
No, I don't give a shit.
Nobody gives a fuck.
No. And this is the thing about these Christian nutbags that are doing this shit. Okay, if you want to believe things and you want to believe your religion, that's fine. Okay, that's perfectly fine. That's your right. But don't push it on me. All right? Don't put your fucking religion and your beliefs into my life. Because if I don't believe what you believe, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear about your bullshit. That's like that Representative Bobat who's like, we got to get Christianity back in school because Christians originally, our founding fathers believed the Christians should dictate the government, not the government dictate religion. First of all, let me explain something. The founding fathers were a bunch of worthless motherfuckers, to be real. Okay? George Washington, our first president, died of syphilis because he was cheating on his fucking wife with a prostitute. Benjamin Franklin had so many... Benjamin Franklin had so many illegitimate children you couldn't count them because he was fucking everybody.
They were Freemasons.
Thomas Jefferson was having sex with slaves left and right and had kids with them. These are the people that you're saying are Christian religious beliefs that should guide our country. Get the fuck out of here.
They were all part of the secret societies. And they're all part of the same fucking bloodline that has been put together and that has been orchestrating this plan of fucking chaos. Right? That's the plan. Ultimately, is Novo Ordo Seclorum. Look at your fucking dollar bill, people. That's exactly what it says.
Yeah.
Novo Ordo Seclorum, right? Order out of chaos. That's the plan. How do you get order out of chaos? What do you have to create first?
Order.
Well, to get order, you have to create...
Oh, yeah, you have to have chaos to create
Look the fuck around.
Right. And it's funny because going into the subject that we're talking about today, a lot of people in the past... mainly a lot of have predicted stuff of this nature, and that's something we're talking about today. What we're really talking about is premonitions, and mainly I wanted to focus on premonitions of death. So, have you ever had or known anybody to have a thought or dream or something they just knew was going to happen and then it come true?
Yeah, I've had people tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me stuff, right? You know what I mean?
My mother...
personally, I've never had a dream or a premonition like that. I saw it in a dream, and then it happened exactly like I saw it in the dream. But I've had dreams, you know what I mean, of things that correlated then with something that ended up happening. You know what I mean? So, I didn't see somebody get ran over by a car, you know what I mean? But then a couple weeks later, you know what I mean? Maybe the person that got hit by the car in the dream, you know what I mean, was in a car wreck or something.
Right. Well, see, my mother used to have these dreams, and she would never tell us what they were about exactly. But my mother had more of a psychic ability. I had pretty much none, zero. But I believe in it because I know my mother would have these dreams, and when they would happen, when she would have these dreams, a week later, someone in the family would die.
Right.
And it was exactly how she dreamed it, and it was the exact same dream every single time these people died. And I think I've talked about this before on the podcast. I had a fiance who knew she was going to die before she was 18.
That was a crazy story.
She told me how. She told me exactly what was going on, and she knew that she was going to die before she was 18. And she died 6 months before her 18th birthday. You know, she was 17 years old, and she knew she was going to die before she was 18.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of those today, and you'll see that a lot of them that we're going to talk about had those same things, where they had a dream, where they knew for a fact that they were going to die before they were going to die. My father, right before he died, he knew that he had cancer before he had cancer. My uncle prayed and had a feeling that he had cancer before he died, and he prayed that he wouldn't die that way, that he would die quicker, right? And my uncle was out cutting a tree, and he had cut trees half his life. He'd done it 1,000,000 times. My uncle would not have fucked up how he cut a tree, okay? He cut this tree, and this tree just happened, the wind blew the wrong way, and as he cut it, it fell on him, killed him instantly. Instantly killed him, right? When they did the autopsy, they found out that my uncle was filled up with cancer from top to bottom. He would have died within 6 months. Yeah. And stuff like that happens all the time. So
it is. I mean, there is some wild shit, but
so I'm going to start getting into this, and the first thing I'm going to do is talk about Nostradamus because he's very famous. And a lot of his predictions were vague. But one of them I always thought was kind of revealing was the one about 9/11. Because now Notre Dame was 1555, little backstory on Notre Dame, and he wrote some very vague predictions in a book that were kind of poetic. But one of the things he said was earth-shaking fire from the center of the earth. 2 still birds destroy the 2 brothers. They will cause tremors around the new city. 2 great rocks will war for a long time, and the rivers will run with blood. Speaking of the Iraqi war that happened after that, and about the 2 great countries coming together, and the rivers will run with blood.
And it's right, 1555.
Right.
And he's talking about steel birds.
Right. And steel wasn't even used then to make anything.
Let alone a plane.
Well, he didn't even know what a plane was. So if you saw a plane in 1555 in a vision, you would think it was a giant bird.
See, that's one of the things I find very interesting. Because he's obviously in his, they're called quatrains.
Yeah, quatrains.
Obviously in his quatrains, he's using very careful language.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Very simple. If he doesn't, the church, right?
Oh, yeah.
They will go into his house. They will goddamn pull him out by his fucking hair. And they'll set him on fire.
Or behead him.
In front of everyone, right.
Yeah, they used to behead people left and right just for anything.
So
all you had to do if you were king is say somebody was committing blasphemy or was against the crown, and they'd behead your shit.
We talked about that
immediately.
Episode. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't even need fucking proof. Like, you're just goddamn waterboard your ass.
Yeah. One time we're going to have to do the Tower of London, and you'll see just in the Tower of London how many people were beheaded just in England alone. It was just like...
But I wonder if he did know what he was actually foreseeing as airplanes. But he had to carefully describe it as.
Well, that's why it was, I think, his descriptions. And Notre Dame, we could do a whole episode on him. He had so many predictions that pretty much came true, but they were so vague that people say, well... And you're always going to have this. With anything that's premonitions or predictions or psychic or paranormal... You have these people that are always trying to say, no, because they don't want to believe that shit.
Well, and right. And so the one thing I would tell them that you have to fucking see as true is that everything's cyclical, right?
Yeah.
Everything is in a circle. And, like, there's rise and fall to everything.
Right.
And I don't think anybody would deny that there has been civilizations that have risen and fallen on this earth. We just don't know how many and for how long.
Right.
But we do know that there's been civilizations, obviously, that were advanced. I mean, even if you're just talking Rome.
Right.
Like, they were unbelievably advanced. Well, they fell.
Well, that was mainly because they did not realize that lead killed you.
Right. Well,
right. I mean, when you're making pipes with mercury and lead, bro.
Right. What I'm saying is it's very possible that the events that we're seeing today are a replay of events that have happened in the past.
Oh, of course they are.
So
I'm sure like things that
can just tune into it, because the truth is there is no past and there is no future.
Well, see, this is the thing. What you got to realize is scientists can't explain everything.
Right.
You can't. There's a lot of things scientists cannot explain and don't understand yet. Physics, I mean, has not had a revelation since, Albert Einstein in the 30s. I mean, there's theories, but theory is nothing. That's just a guess. I mean, I can make a theory about what happened.
Right. I mean, we're all on a information-seeking adventure.
And the thing is, you're not going to know everything. And you've got that's the first thing you've got to admit to yourself is that you don't know everything, and psychic abilities and all of this could truthfully be real.
No, you don't know anything, man.
Right.
Like, I listen to this dude named Ray Hagans, and he always does, before he does his lectures, he holds his hands up and makes a circle.
Right.
And tells everybody to make a circle. You know what I mean? And he says, what is inside this circle is everything that I think I know about whatever it is I think I know is all contained inside this circle. What I have to understand is that there's more to know. And there's more to know than what is just within the awareness of this circle.
Right.
That's it.
Well, here's another weird premonition. Now, you've heard of the X-Files, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, there was a spin-off of the X-Files, a lot of people don't know, called The Lone Gunman. And it was a spin-off of the popular series The X-Files. Now, The Lone Gunman, interestingly, they aired an episode on March 2001. And it pretty much predicted 9/11. And this is March 2001, way before September attacks.
Right.
The pilot of the show, the plot of the show, shows a pilot episode revolves around a hijacking of a commercial airliner through remote control of the plane computer system. Oh, God, I'm going to fuck up eventually. I haven't fucked up yet. The drinking game is in effect, but I have not fucked up yet. We're trying to get through this. I promise the Lord.
Yeah, we're going to give you a commuter.
Yeah, the commuter. But hey, you might be a commuter on a plane.
Well, I'm going to give it to you because it is a word.
It is a word. It wasn't the word I was trying to say. I was trying to say computer, but
we're going to give it to you.
Yeah, there's a computer.
Judges, way to go, Brian. Way to go, buddy.
You can be on a commuter flight of a plane that's taken over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, fuck you. But anyways, in this episode, the plane flies towards the World Trade Center. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it flies towards
was that the 912 one?
Yeah, the 912 one.
Was that the train one?
Yeah, the train.
Yeah. I'll never forget.
It flies. The plane flies to the World Trade Center, ladies and gentlemen. The World Trade Center in New York City. But in the episode, anyways, the plane flies and destroys the World Trade Center.
Right.
And this was made in March of 2001.
That I wouldn't consider premonition. See, that I would consider predictive programming. That is because somebody already knows what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, not only that, at the time, I mean, you had to be an idiot to think somebody wouldn't try to attack the U.S. if you looked at what was going on at the time.
And here's the problem. Here's why people have to start waking up, and we have to take our power back. Here's why. There's an old Roman creed that states, "For he that will be deceived, let him." It's because these evil motherfuckers that are running the show on this planet, they're not allowed to fucking do it. They're not allowed to do you dirty.
Right.
Without first putting it right in front of your face what they're doing.
Well, see, and this actually goes into the other one I was just going to speak about.
Who will be deceived, let him.
Well, see, that goes into what I was talking about, because Princess Diana, right before she died, she gave a note to her butler, right? And she said, "The particular phase in my life is the most dangerous. My husband is planning an accident in my car." And that goes into what you're saying. The people behind the scenes won't let you know what's going on. And they can never prove Charles had anything to do with it. But we kind of all know he did. He was not, and the Queen of England was not going to be embarrassed by her leaving and marrying some schmo that she just met.
Right.
And that's what was going to happen. And she wrote, "My husband is planning an accident in my car. Brake failure, serious head injury, in order to make the path clear for him to marry Tiggy," which is exactly what he did. "Camilla is nothing but a decoy. So we are all being used by the man in every sense of the word." And this is what she wrote before she died to her butler. Now, a lot of people say this letter was forged. And let's be real, of course they do. Because again, like you said, people in power are not going to let you know. So of course the letter was forged. Right. Just like Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
sure.
Right. That's right. Right. Like we were talking about earlier. It's magic.
Right.
Somebody's always trying to trick you, folks. And that's why you have cell phones. That's why you have tablets. That's why you have Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter. That's why you have all this distraction. Okay? Because at the basic fundamental level, what in the fuck are you supposed to be doing? You're supposed to know yourself. Know thyself. Be still, right? Mm-hmm. And know thyself. Why is that important? Because until you get inside of you and understand who you are and know yourself, then you won't be able to use your intuition, right? You won't be able to use your innate judgment, your innate knowing who's telling the truth and who isn't.
Here's an interesting one. Watch this one. This will fuck you up. In October 21st, 1966, I don't know if you remember this, but 110,000 cubic meters of coal slurry fell down on top of, it slid down a mountain and engulfed a portion of a town. The slurry consumed and smashed a junior high school. It was Pantagalas Junior High School and killed 144 people in total, 116 of them children. Now, in October of that year, of 1966.
That happened what month?
This happened in October also.
Okay.
A week before this happened, in the mining town of Aberfan Wells in England, there was a girl named Earl Mae Jones. And she said to her mother, a week before this happened, I dreamed I went to school and there was no school there. Something black had came down all over it. In the days prior, she told her mother, just a few days before it happened, she told her mother, you know, I'm not really afraid to die. Even being young, I'm not afraid to die. Because I shall be with my two friends, Peter and June. Now, the mother, just thought it was a kid being, a kid and dreaming weird shit.
Yeah.
And then 2 days after she said, I'm not afraid to die, I will be my friends, Peter and June. This sludge, this black sludge, came down off the mountain, killed all of them, killed her, and they found her buried in a mass grave right next to her classmates, Peter and June.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's the information is already there. Like I said, so if you're watching, imagine you're watching TV and you got people that are in a maze, okay? And they're trying to get through this maze. You're watching it on TV, so you're getting the above view of the entire maze. Mm-hmm. So it's real fucking easy, right, for you.
Right.
You see every angle. You see every path. It already exists, right? But if you're in the game, right, it's a different story. This is kind of what is the same thing. I see like something like that. Mm-hmm. It's gonna happen. It's inevitable,
right?
And it's in the mind. It's in the field,
right?
And some people are able to access it,
right?
You know what I'm saying? But something like that, you can't stop.
Well, how about a guy?
But I think that there are things that you can stop.
Oh yeah,
because the future isn't set. It isn't real.
It's amazing. You don't know what I'm going to talk about next, and yet you keep leading into the next thing I'm going to talk about perfectly. It's almost like, we're doing a psychic thing right here.
That's why everybody misses me.
Yeah. You were just leading into this. Like you said, sometimes you can change the future. And how about a guy named Barrett Naylor who survived 2 attacks on the World Trade Center? He survived them because of premonitions.
Really?
On February 26, 1993, terrorists planted a massive truck bomb in the parking garage of the World Trade Center, which we all know. It detonated shortly after 12 p.m. 6 people died in the attack, and over 1,000 were injured. Now, earlier that morning, Wall Street executive Barrett Naylor said he had an odd sensation when he exited his train. Something told him not to go into work that day to the World Trade Center. So he followed his instincts, he went home, and he would have died in that attack had he been there.
He followed his instincts. He followed his intuition. He knew himself, and he trusted himself.
And then again, the same guy, Barrett Naylor, on September 11th, 2001, got the same feeling as he did in 93. He again followed his instincts, went home to find that the towers had collapsed. Naylor's premonition saved him twice from death.
I mean, man, we've all had it. We've all had that feeling, right? That something ain't right, or we shouldn't do this, or you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, again, this is why you have to fucking do the work yourself. There's a difference in, like, he got that feeling. He trusted it because he got it in his heart. Mm-hmm. That's a heart feeling, right? And he trusted it, and it saved his life. But see, we also can get tricked. We can get tricked by fear and not listen to our heart, instead listen to our brain, right?
Right.
Because if he could have easily said, "Nah, you're just being fucking lazy. You don't want to go to work."
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which is what 99% of people would do.
Well, I've said this before. That's why I've learned to trust my instincts. Because when I had that horrific car accident when I was 18, which my fiance died in, which she predicted.
Right.
Right. All the way there, on a car that had not had any kind of overheating problems at all. I was driving a car.
Yeah.
All the way to Indianapolis before the accident, my car kept overheating. All the way. When I got to Indy, I kept having a weird feeling that I shouldn't go to Indy. It was almost like that day everything was working against me. Well, at first, I didn't have gas money. Okay? I decided to go to Indy. She was on board, but I didn't have gas money. Okay? Then my friend showed up and he said, "Yeah, I got plenty of money, man. I just, got paid. Hell yeah, let's go to Indy."
Yeah.
So then the gas money came through. Then all the way to Indy, we kept overheating the car. And I was like, man, we're going to have to stop, turn around, dude, if this car don't stop overheating. But we were almost Indy, so I said, well, we'll go to Indianapolis. So we got to Indy. It's amazing. The car never overheated one time while we were in Indianapolis. Yeah. All the way there, it overheated. As soon as I got to Indy, it didn't overheat. And I kept having a feeling like we shouldn't go to Indianapolis. Something kept telling me. Yeah. And I just ignored it because I was like, I'm being stupid,
Exactly.
Right.
You let your brain override what your heart knew was true.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, this is what I'll go back to. And it very well could be and have been predetermined that your fiancé was going to die before she was 18. Or whatever, however what she said.
Right, but I could have changed the way it happened.
That day.
Yeah.
You could have changed the future, right? If at any time you would have followed your instinct and said,
or followed all the signs that was pointing, don't go.
We just need to turn around and go back. Yep.
Right.
We'll make sure the car's fucking not, you know what I mean? But again, if you could have done that, you guys could have came back, woke up the next day, got the car running good, hey, let's go to Indy. And it could have happened that day.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? So, man, it's just a hard... You asked me if I've ever known anybody. It's funny, you brought up that Princess Di thing, and it actually did spark a memory. When I was little, man, I was 10, right around 10 maybe. And this, I'll never forget this, because this was one of the first times somebody told me a story that involved any type of psychic shit, you know what I mean? And really got me thinking. But my friend's dad was telling us that he knew a girl and she went to a psychic and that the psychic had written something on a piece of paper, right? And told her not to open it. Not to open it until you get home. Don't open this piece of paper until you get home. Dies in a car wreck. Had left the psychic, you know what I mean? Is she right on her way home? I don't know. But anyway, dies before she gets home. and they actually find this piece of paper in the wreckage.
It said she was going to die.
And it says, "You will not live to read what I've wrote down
Holy
on this piece of paper."
shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy shit.
Well, you know Sharon Tate, right? Who we all know was killed by the man.
Dude, I just watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood yesterday. Have you seen that movie?
Uh-huh.
It's a great movie.
Oh, yeah. But she had a dream, and she said it was a lucid dream where she knew she was awake and she saw. And she said this, "I saw something or someone tied to my staircase. Whoever it was, I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman, but I knew that it was either Jace Sebring or me," which both died in, the Manson family attacks.
Yeah.
And she said, "We both had our throats cut open," which is exactly how they died.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and she saw that way before. Now let's get to some really famous ones. Here's some, and they're really famous and really eerie, and a bunch of people know it. Let's talk about Van Zandt for a minute, Ronnie. Okay, we can talk about old Ronnie, and this is very interesting. Now, do you know their last album, which was released one day before he died, okay, was called Street Survivor?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen the cover of that album?
I don't remember if I have.
The whole band is standing in front of flaming wreckage on the street.
Oh, right.
Another interesting thing. They bought the plane from Aerosmith, right? And a lot of people don't know this. The plane actually ran out of gas. That's why they died. The plane ran out of gas in midair and they crashed. And Aerosmith had told them there's something wrong with the gauges. They never got them checked.
Oh, man.
Right. Also, Van Zandt had dreams about him dying in a plane crash. See, same thing goes on with Richie Valens.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And Buddy Holly.
Yep.
Both of them had dreams of dying in plane crashes.
Which one in that Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, which one didn't die in the plane crash? Because
all of them died in the plane crash.
But there was somebody, though, that was supposed to be on that fucking plane.
Oh, yeah. It was...
that didn't get on the plane.
Yeah,
he was sick or something? Or
Richie was sick. Okay, and Richie Valens had a fear of flying his whole life.
That's what it was.
Yeah, he had dreams his whole life of plane crashes and him dying in a plane crash. And he lost a flip of a coin to another guy that you're talking about.
That's right.
And since he won the coin flip, and since he won the coin flip, he got on the plane with Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper.
Because he was sick.
Yeah, and he was sick.
Because he needed to get
right. He needed to get to the next place so he could get better.
Yeah.
And that plane crashed. Yeah. And Buddy Holly and both Richie Valens had dreams for years about dying in plane crashes.
It's nuts, dude.
And they both knew they were going to die in a plane crash. They just didn't know when and how. I think if I'm having dreams about dying in plane crashes, I'm not getting on a fucking plane. That's just me. We'll drive, motherfucker.
Right.
All right, I don't give a damn coin flip my ass. I don't give a damn if I'm dying of the flu. We're driving.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not real hip on flying anyway.
Yeah.
If I've been having dreams that I'm going to die in a plane crash, I sure as fuck ain't doing it.
Well, it's funny. James Dean himself had kind of a premonition. It's funny. About 2 weeks before James Dean died on a highway in his car, and we spoke about this on another episode because we talked about James Dean on one, remember? The guy from the restaurant told him not to get in that car. It's going to kill him.
Yep.
Okay? But James Dean himself said in an interview, people say racing is dangerous. And people ask me all the time, racing is dangerous. He said, but I'll take my chances on a track any day because a highway is much more dangerous. Take it easy on the highway because the life you save could be mine. And that was like a week before he died on a highway, and a guy pulled out in front of him and killed him. So the life you could save could be mine, he said. And then a week later, a guy pulls out in front of him on a highway and kills his ass.
Crazy shit.
Yeah.
It is. It's crazy shit.
So, Abraham Lincoln, and this is a really famous one too. We all know that, how Abraham Lincoln died, but just a week before his murder, Lincoln told his wife that he had a very unsettling dream that annoyed him. He was, I don't know how to say this word, cataphlaic, a type of framework that supports a coffin, is what it is. But he was in the coffin in the White House in the East Wing, and a Union soldier was standing guard. Lincoln said he walked up to the man and asked, "Who is dead in the White House?" And the soldier replied.
Yeah, he did.
He plied himself repeatedly. He just
right in front of the casket.
Yeah, Lincoln was standing there, said, "Who died?" And he just whipped out his dick and started plying away, baby. He
Have
was just
some
plying.
fucking respect for the deceased soldier.
He said, "But I gotta ply myself, Mr. President. You don't understand. It's been weeks."
Yeah. If I ply myself, I can be general.
Yeah. My wife hasn't plied me in years. Fucking cunt.
All our slaves are plying her.
She's getting plied by the slaves, sir.
Yeah, she is.
Anyways, he replied. Okay. But Lincoln asked him in the dream, "Who's dead in the White House?" And the soldier replied, "Thank you very much. That's right."
That's plied again for all you laymen out there.
Yes, that's plied again for anybody who didn't catch it the first time. He replied, "The president is dead, sir. He was killed by an assassin." Yeah, so, and we talked about Ronnie Van Zant.
But see, like at the same time, man, like, so say you have a premonition that you die in a car wreck.
Mm-hmm.
What are you supposed to do, dude? Are you supposed to live in fear? Getting in a car for the rest of your life, is that what you're supposed to do? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that what the premonition is telling you? Like,
it's
your path, your journey. What I'm telling you to do is not involving automobiles.
Well, see, that's the problem. The premonitions normally aren't specific enough for you to know exactly when it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like, yeah, we're telling you this is going to happen, but it's kind of inevitable. You're going to die.
Yeah, man.
We're giving you a heads up, but get your shit together.
Which that we all know is true.
Right.
At the end of the day, you are going to die.
Well, Ronnie even said in Tokyo, Ronnie told people that he would never live to see 30, and then he would go out with his boots on. In other words, on the road. Ronnie said, "I don't like to talk about it, but I know my destiny."
Right.
Bob Marley said he had a dream, and he claimed that he would die at the same age as Jesus, which was 36. And in July 1977, Marley was diagnosed with malignant melanoma under an nail of his toe. He continued touring despite the illness. But his health soon deteriorated, and he died May 11th, 1981, at the age of 36. Yeah.
And then see some of it. I wonder how much of it is like if you have this belief, if you have this energy, if you have this knowing that I'm going to die at a certain time, maybe just that in itself is actually what's causing you to die at that certain time.
Possibly. Well, Mark Twain, right? Interesting. This is weird as shit. Mark Twain was born when Halley's Comet, the day after Halley's Comet passed. Mark Twain said, and this is a quote from Mark Twain, he said, "I came in with Halley's Comet, and it is coming again next year. The Almighty has told me that no doubt, now there are these two uncountable freaks. They came in together and they must go out together." One day after Halley's Comet passed, on April 21st, 1910, Mark Twain died of a massive heart attack at 74. So one day after Halley's Comet passed, on his birthday, he died at 74.
So Halley's Comet goes through, he's born.
Mm-hmm.
Halley's Comet goes through, he dies.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. That's wild.
Well, Amy Whitehouse always predicted that she would be part of the 27 Club, which we know what the 27 Club is, right?
Yeah.
That singers and actors, famous people that die at 27 years old. And it's funny, that last binge,
Her.
when she was 27 years old, killed her ass.
So her, Hendrix, Joplin,
Morrison. Yeah.
Was Kurt Cobain 27?
Yeah, Kurt Cobain.
Lane Staley was 27. Right, lead singer of Alice in Chains.
Yep, he was 27. Well, that's funny, Morrison, that you bring up Morrison, because he told people in 1970, he said, "You're drinking with number 3." He said, "You don't know it yet, but you're drinking with number 3." He said, "That's right, I'm number 3." His chilling words became true as Morrison mysteriously died on July 3rd, 1971 at age 27, the third one of the 27 club to die. Now, Jimi Hendrix, he was another one. And Jimi Hendrix, again, kind of predicted his own death. He said many things he would try, talking about drug-wise. And he said, for soon I know I'm going to die. He said, now Jimmy is gone. He's not alone. His memory will still live. 5 years, this he said. He is not gone, just dead. On September 18th, 1970, almost 5 years to the month of that recording,
wow,
Hendrix was found dead in his London hotel.
So, man, I wish we had 1 million listeners, dude, because I'd love to know if anybody out there has had a premonition.
Mm-hmm.
Either about themselves or even more interesting is like if I had a premonition about something that was going to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody been able to prevent
the death?
Yeah. Or, you know what I mean? Do they think that they prevented it? Because obviously, there's no real timetable. You know what I mean? That's what I find out interesting about these people like Morrison and Hendrix and Marley, where they're like specifically talking about a time.
This is when I'm going to die.
Like,
yeah.
Does that energy actually
manifest
itself, right?
Well, that's like Lennon. Lennon said the same thing. When the Beatles manager got shot but wasn't killed, Lennon said, I'm next, and I know it. I've known it for a while. When the band broke up, he also said, I don't want to be dead at age 40. He said, I don't want to die at age 40. But his most eerie comment is he also said, but I will be killed by some kind of loony.
I mean, man.
Yeah.
That's not like, man. So, yeah.
And Lennon was 40 years old when he died.
It's like...
And he was killed by a crazy man.
Like, if you go to the doctor, you know what I mean? And they're like, yeah, you know what I mean? We can't do anything for you.
Right.
Your cancer's terminal. You have 6 months to live. Like,
right.
But it's... Obviously, it's not cancer. I'm not trying to fucking be unsympathetic to cancer victims or anything, but that seems kind of like the same mentality, man. It's like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I
know in the deepest depths of who I am that I'm going to die at this certain time. Like,
oh, yeah.
But what do? You can't stop living.
Right, you can't just. Right, you can't just.
You can't just sit there and wait for it to happen.
Well, Martin Luther King's another one. Look, one of his last speeches that he gave, he told the assembled crowd that he had been on top of the mountain and he had seen the promised land of equality on the other side, assuring them that they would make it there. However, he added, but I will not be there with you. And pointed out that while he would like to live for a long time, he was not worried about his fate. And the following evening, after giving this speech, he was shot dead at the balcony of his hotel.
Yeah, and see, like, people like Martin Luther King, Lincoln, who else was it? Princess Di.
Right.
I think that they can. They're almost like in the Jesus realm, if you would. So they have taken a position. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They've taken a position. They've taken a stance that obviously goes against the norm. Like, I think they know, right? At some point, somebody's going to take me out. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they know before they make that choice, hey, I'm going to make this choice. I'm going this way. And this is my life. This is what I'm doing. I'm taking a stand. I mean, you get enough people in an uproar, the powers that be are going to fucking take you out, man.
Well, do you know who Arnold Schönenberg is? He was an artist.
I know.
He was a very famous artist. He painted a lot of amazing paintings, but he had an interesting phobia. It's called, and I'm going to fuck this up, I promise, triskaidekaphobia. I didn't fuck it up, amazingly enough. Triskaidekaphobia, which is the fear of the number 13.
Okay.
And he kept telling people his whole life, this is going to have something to do with my death. Now, the interesting thing was, he was born on the 13th. And every time he had a birthday, he was afraid because he had a fear of the number 13, and he was born on the 13th. But on his 76th birthday, on the 13th of July, 1951, okay, he had a particularly bad experience, kept telling people, I'm going to die. I'm going to die today. He was completely bedridden. Now, there was nothing wrong with this guy at this point. So, his wife later said that she was relieved because the whole day had went by and he had died. And he was assured that he was going to die right then.
Right.
And there was nothing wrong with him. He'd just been laying in bed all day because he was scared to death he was going to die. But his wife said that she felt relieved because she looked at the clock and saw there was only 15 minutes left in the day before the date changed to the 14th. So she went on to say that she was looking at the clock, saw there was only 15 minutes left in the day. It was exactly at that moment when she heard a doctor shout from the bedroom that he had had a massive heart attack and died on the 13th, 15 minutes before the date changed.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's the nuttiest thing ever. Well, Frank Pasteur, who had two high-profile careers. There's an L in careers now. We now say careers. He had two amazing careers. Clarice.
Get you another career.
Yeah, could you get a career for me? Anyways, he had two careers. He was a pitcher in a Major League Baseball, and he was also a popular presenter on Christian radio.
He didn't have anything to do with the milk, though, right?
No.
That was just his brother Louis.
Louis Pasteur. But anyways, Pasteur loved motorcycles, and during a monologue about a week before his death, he mentioned his wrist, saying that due to the careless drivers, at any minute I could be spread all over 210. This was a reference to the 210 freeway that he rode home every day. And it was just on that road that he was hit by a car 3 hours. Or no, not a day, 3 hours after saying those words. So 3 hours after he tells everybody at a Christian meeting, hey, I know motorcycles are dangerous, and one of these days I'm going to be going down Highway 210 and somebody's going to kill me. 3 hours later, after the meeting, he's going down Highway 210 and is plastered all over the road. And like you said, though, but what are you supposed to bloody do at that point?
Yeah.
I mean...
Take another road? I don't...
I mean, what are you fucking supposed to do? I mean, all these people knew about their deaths. But, I mean, how are you going to prevent it? You can't just stop living.
Nope.
Right. And if something is so destined that there's a date on it, like the guy died on the 13th, or Mark Twain, he knew when Haley Comet passed, the next day he was going to die. If it's that specific, Or, Morrison, who said, I'm the third of the 27 club, and I know I am. There's no way I'm preventing this.
Right.
If it's that specific and or my fiance, she was 100%, I'm going to die in a car accident before the age of 18. If you know these things, what do you do? Wrap yourself in bubble wrap and just hope to God,
I don't know.
Because you got to go on living. You can't but that would be almost torturous, too, if you think about it. To know the day and the circumstances behind your death.
Right. And like you said, if you chose then to wrap yourself in bubble wrap and live like that, aren't you dead anyway?
Yeah. Aren't you not living at that point?
Sure.
At that point, really, it's best to do what a lot of these people did, like Morrison and them. They embraced life as much as they could until they knew the day they were going to die.
And I think that's ultimately the message that's being taught to us through these premonitions.
Oh, yeah.
That's the message.
Yeah.
Is that, yes, you're going to die, but you don't really know when.
Mm-mm.
And but if you choose to live your life in fear, you're dead.
Right.
You're already dead.
Morrison...
So fucking live.
Right. Morrison knew he was going to die, but you know what? He lived every moment of his life until his death at 27 as much as he could. And he said, fuck it.
And I think we've talked about this before, and I think we both believe in reincarnation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think that's maybe the point that's starting to be more... That's starting to awaken more to us, right?
Right.
You don't have a fucking choice.
No.
You have to live this life like you're not gonna die.
Right.
That's the point.
Right.
Why? Because you ain't got nothing better to do.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a fucking choice. And I think then what the next thing people will wake up to is that you not only should you live this life like you ain't gonna die because you don't have a choice, you actually made a fucking choice to be here.
Well, this is the thing. Whatever you believe, if you're religious in any way, shape, or form, then why are you scared to death in the first place?
Exactly.
Because if you're a Christian and you believe you're going to heaven, you should be looking forward to that day.
Right.
Because you get to go celebrate.
Right.
Yes, worry about the people that are still left behind. That's the ones you got to worry about.
Right.
The people you leave here. And set up a plan for them to be able to enjoy their life. But you should be looking forward to these days.
Live your life and try to leave it better than what you found it.
The only person that should be scared of death would be an atheist. Because they believe they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
If you know this is all you got and you're living a shitty life, I'd be kind of fucking shitty about it too.
And I just...
But if you believe there's something after
this... facts out there too, for me, that we know that energy doesn't die. It only is transformed.
Well, that's what I said.
And that's what we are. We're energy.
To be an atheist.
And think that you're just going to die and that it's going to be a forever blackness?
Yeah.
That can't be.
Well, even that. If you think about it, even if you're an atheist and you believe you go to sleep and don't ever wake up again, that's actually a relief if you're living a shitty life.
Right.
Because now you don't have to live a shitty life anymore.
Right. And so, right. And that's a great point right there. If you believe that death is that you're just going to fall asleep and that's it and never wake up again, then maybe you should ask yourself, what was it like to be born?
Right.
When you woke up, having never went to sleep.
Right, exactly. That's the point of, what was birth.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What? You just think it was some cells joining together and boom, you were born? No, that doesn't make any sense because then what's consciousness?
Right.
What makes you?
Right.
If it's all random, then what becomes you? And why is it you have a personality? Right. You can say all you want that you learn things as life goes on and you become a person, based on what you learn. That's great and everything. But kids have personalities before they're born. You have a personality when you're born. The you that you is still you when they haven't learned anything. And if you've ever seen a baby, you know that. Because one baby doesn't act like another baby. Mm-hmm. You'll have one baby, he's a complete asshole. He screams all the time, little dick, fucking throws shit. Then you have another baby calm as hell.
Well,
so their personalities are made way before they learn anything.
Sure. And see there, and you can learn a lot from a child, man, because what are they? They go by one thing and one thing only: feel.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's natural. How do I feel?
Yeah. How do I feel?
You know, it's just like naturally, newborn babies naturally know how to swim.
Yeah.
Right? The reason that then we forget how to swim is because the fear of drowning is put into our minds.
Correct. Yeah.
By adults.
Right.
Who have also been trapped into the same fear.
Right. It's like, why does a person walk upright? It's not like we teach babies to walk upright. They do it on their own. Mm-hmm. They start pulling themselves up. Mm-hmm. And they start walking. And see, a lot of things that happens as we get older is taught behaviors. Like overeating. Like if you've ever fed a child, a young child,
absolutely.
When they're not hungry anymore, they stop eating.
Well, it's...
and when they are hungry, they say, hey, I'm hungry.
Right.
I want to eat.
100%.
And once they're done eating, see, overeating is a learned behavior.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, no, it's proven. I mean, we're talking now about peer-reviewed scientific facts. From birth until right around 7 years old, your brain is operating in a wave state that is only downloading information.
Right.
And that information from the time you're 0 to 7 is then burned into your subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. And 95% of what you do on a daily basis is done automatically through the subconscious based on what you was taught from the ages 0 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a real pandemic.
Right.
Because this isn't being taught to parents.
Oh, yeah. And then your parents...
Think about how fucking careful you must be then. If you know that's true.
Right.
Where is most of the information that your children are downloading? Where's it coming from? It's coming from you as a parent, right? And then you got to be careful where you're sending them.
Well,
whether it be daycare or school or who is putting the information in my child's mind?
And that is completely proven, because if your dad is a worthless alcoholic who doesn't like to work and is a worthless bum, then you become a worthless bum. It's not inherited.
It's a
download, mindset, right? Because you saw that,
right.
And if
that's why poor people stay poor,
right?
Rich people stay rich.
If you see your dad hardworking, going out to work every day, and disciplining you correctly, and telling you, no, you don't do this, and you do that, and why are you doing this?
Right.
And you download that information to your kids, the rest of their life, every time they do something, that comes back.
They're subconsciously, automatically moving towards what they've been programmed.
Right. Should I go to work?
Right. Here's the other thing that's proven now, though. You can change the program.
Of course you can. But you have to be conscious enough to do it.
You said it earlier best. First thing you got to do, admit that you're programmed.
Right. And then you got to wake up to the fact of what's really happening in the world.
Right. And then once you admit it, right, shit, I've been programmed. Like, I'm doing all this shit subconsciously. Like, life sucks, but damn it, I know now why.
Right.
Then you have to go to work on yourself. Because now you literally become the controller of the master of your computer, which is this vessel that you're in, this Earth suit, right? This space suit that you're inhabiting, because this isn't really you. That's not really you, and this isn't really me. We're all the same exact thing. We all came from the same exact thing.
And
it's one consciousness.
That brings me back to the premonitions that we're talking about. Are these dreams really premonitions, or are they a warning, and then at that time, once you get the warning, you program yourself to fulfill what you're already seeing?
Right.
Like Jim Morrison, there could have been a warning, hey, you're going to be the third in the 27 club if you don't stop drinking and doing drugs. There's the warning. But at that point, he takes that, does he program his own mind to believe that no matter what I do, I'm going to die at 27.
Sure.
You know?
It's a great question.
Right. And then you've got the programming of, again, Mark Twain. You're going to die right after the Halley's Comet. Day after Halley's Comet, he dies. Did he program himself to believe that, your brain controls your body? So if you have a standard belief that, I'm going to die right after a Halley's Comet, you're going to die right after a Halley's Comet. Because your brain's going to stop your heart because you've programmed yourself to believe that.
Right.
The guy on the 13th was scared of 13 his whole life, was born on the 13th. He said, I'm going to die on the 13th. Did he program himself that, hey, I'm going to die on the 13th?
Sure. Right.
And he was completely scared that day, so scared that he had a massive heart attack.
Right.
Your brain can stop your heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there has been many examples of loved one dying,
absolutely,
and they being so heartbroken that their heart stops because of the stress from their death. And it was their brain stopping their heart. There was nothing wrong with them. There was nothing wrong with that guy on the 13th, but he was so convinced that he was going to die that day that 15 minutes before the date changed, his heart stopped because his brain said, well, if you believe it, I'm going to do it.
The bottom line is that you have your brain, you have your thought, and you have your feeling. Yeah, feeling. What do you feel in your heart? Right. That's what people have to start. You have. It's a fucking cliche, right? You got to love. Well, you got to get back to love,
right?
Because that's what the heart is,
right?
You have to be in the love frequency, in tune with love, because only through that brings peace and calmness. Because exactly what you're talking about is exactly fucking right, man. And this was what people suffer. I mean, so many people suffer every single fucking day, man. And they're told that it's mental problems. No, it's not. You got a battle going on, right? You've been programmed a certain way in your mind. And as you start to get older and you start to get wiser and you start to get more knowledge, and the earth is moving the way that it's moving through space, through these different frequencies, right? Through the different sun rays, through the different star systems, through the different, we're in like a photon belt right now. Waves of fucking information coming in. If you aren't in tune with your heart, your heart's telling you what's real, what's true. You're battling it with your mind, the program, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because in your heart, you know the program's wrong, but you can't bring yourself to fucking make yourself believe it, and then all of a sudden, boom, like you said, massive heart attack.
Right.
Because it's too much of a shock to the system.
Right. But anyways, everybody, that was episode 58, and I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was a good one. Jason's back with this one, so you can stop your negative comments on my Facebook.
We just flow good together. I mean, after 58 episodes.
Well, Jesus Christ, man!
And
like
you gotta understand. I mean, that's 58, but it's really what 60, more like 60,
70 something.
Because
we've done.
And we fucking lost a few.
Well, it's also 70 some. No, it's actually 70 some published. Because you have the Christmas special and you have a different Nicolepsy and all those. And that's another thing was commented on. We weren't doing comedy as much. And I said, well, I guess we'll start doing parodies again.
Dude. We need to have a special come up here soon.
Well, also, we have, if you like the podcast, I just started a new group on Facebook called True Stories of the Paranormal. And we have a bunch of people that are part of the podcast listening audience. Nick is one of them. Shout out to Nick. Again, we haven't talked to him lately, but we got to get Nick back on eventually. But Nick's one of them. He was one of the first ones to join the group. And people are just posting random tales of their paranormal or ghost experiences. And I'll tell you, if you guys do that, eventually, if we get enough of them, I'm going to read them on the air. And if you want your name on there, just tell me, hey, I want your name on there, and we'll put them on the podcast. Yeah. But we've got a bunch of them. We had one that came in already from some people, and but once I get enough of them, then we'll do that. We'll see how the group goes. I'm getting some more people in the group. I just started it a couple days ago, so we'll see how it grows and who posts what.
Right.
But I'll save the stories. I promise you I'll put them on. If you give me your name, like I said, I'll even read your name. If you don't want your name on, that's fine. I'll still read the story, but I won't put it out there, your name, in case you don't want people to think you're crazy.
Right.
All right. But that was episode 58, and I hope you all enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.
Later.